Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 256 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. So if you are wanting to help someone else today, maybe share something positive like this episode or another positive podcast episode with them. And if you want to help me personally, you can go to Apple Podcasts and give me a 5-star review, only if you're loving the show. It matters, probably more than you realize. All right, and if you hear a little squeak noise, I have my Yorkie on my lap. She's 13, and she's not living her best life today, so I'm kind of babying her. All right, I was doing my morning meditation the other day, and the guide said, I want you to picture in your mind a person you know who's always super generous, someone who never even considers not being, someone who never breaks away from generosity, even momentarily. Now, I know some very generous people, but no one that's 100% that way all the time. So I was thinking, oh my goodness, like, why do I not know someone like this? But then the guide quickly added, I'm thinking of one, and it's Superman, and he kind of doesn't actually exist. Well, I sort of laughed with relief because I was really struggling to find someone. I think we have these ideas that there are people that are always a certain way. I know you've probably heard it said, well, she's always happy, or he's always generous, or he's always successful at everything. That kind of sets a standard in our brain that's unfair. I mean, well, if they're always happy, then that must be possible, so I should be too. Or if they're always successful, I should be too. And now you're mad at yourself when you're not happy, or you fail at something and you think you're a loser because, well, that person's always successful. But if you really break that statement down, she's always happy or he's always successful, this is just a manner of speech, not a matter of fact. If you're human, and you are, then you have a range of human emotions and you have a range of success and failures. Now, you may have a pattern of how things go for you, or you may have a dominant emotion, but you still have a range of different emotions. And that's important to know, and it's important to remember that we're designed to have that range. Otherwise, we'd be a robot with one setting, which would be weird and no fun. I mean, think about it. If you were just always happy and laughing, like picture that person. That's weird. But you also don't want to laugh at a funeral. You don't want to laugh if your kid falls down and hurts themselves. Or the opposite, if you're just always sad, well, you're not allowing yourself the opportunity to enjoy the simple things in life. I mean, my set point is happy, but I'm not always happy. I get upset, I worry, I get sad, I get excited, disappointed. I have a full range of emotions. And your emotions are a really good gauge, though, of your thoughts. Your thoughts are the reason you feel anything. So I'm not always happy, but I do aim for that. Jordan Peterson says, what you aim at determines what you see. If you're looking for reasons to be happy, you're going to find them. If you're looking for ways to be successful, you'll see those too. If you're looking for reasons to fail, you'll see them. And if you're looking for reasons to be upset, well, that's easy to find. I try to give myself the chance to be happy more often than not. And I know, and you know, there are all kinds of things we can look at right now to make us sad or angry or disappointed. But there's way more to look at that's inspiring and joyful. I mean, sometimes we're hoping for someone else to come along and inspire us, or for someone to come along and save us from our anger or our disappointment, or to magically show us the exact way to succeed in a certain area. Well, that person doesn't exist outside of you. You have to be that person for yourself. And you can read all the books and watch all the YouTube videos, but until you take it upon yourself to aim for a specific thing and take action to move towards it, you're going to keep following the next shiny object that sells you on a quick fix. And there's no quick fix to success. There's no quick fix for your health. But there is a quick fix for your thoughts and emotions. As long as you don't have a chemical imbalance, you can drown out the negative thought patterns with new positive ones by thinking on purpose. So what's your dominant emotion? Have you ever really thought about that? Is it happy? Is it serious? Is it anxious? Is it disappointed? What's the emotion you feel most every single day. And don't worry if you don't like the answer you come up with, because you can affect it. No matter the emotion, at some point, if it's not serving you, you have to move forward from it or you find yourself stuck. And we don't want to stay stuck in an emotion that doesn't serve us. That sounds terrible. But people do it all the time. They get in these thought patterns that keep them sad or bitter or angry. I mean, we've all done it. But how are your thought patterns? Are you constantly down on yourself? Are you constantly talking negatively about your friends or family, either internally or externally, where you talk about them actually? Are you constantly focused on the bad things that happen in this world? These are thought patterns that we can easily fall into, especially now because that's how information is dispersed. Bad news gets highlighted. Okay, you can keep yourself in a state of anxiety and despair by allowing someone else to dictate your thoughts by way of the bad news media, or you can slowly turn it around by thinking on purpose with a better feeling thought. You can ask yourself, how do I turn this around? It's a simple question. Your brain will answer it. Your brain wants to answer it. When you think on purpose, you aim for something positive. Yeah, you're going to have thoughts that slip in that aren't the best, but when you think on purpose, you'll start becoming aware of those thoughts and maybe start asking yourself a better question. I talked about my side notes in episode 253 and how each day I have a different thing written down that I'm aiming for that day, like being intentional all day, or being the best version of me all day, or being present no matter what I'm doing. I literally will stop and ask myself, wait, am I being intentional here? Or is skipping the gym being the best version of me? My brain answers it every time, and it's a resounding no. But I still have little setbacks here and there, but overall, I'm becoming more intentional, more present, and a better version of myself because those are things I'm aiming for. I'm actually thinking on purpose. My husband was training a young pilot that's newly hired, and he was having a little trouble because he was rushing. Well, he explained to my husband, he said, I know, it's once I get experience, I know that I'll stop rushing. The rushing will stop. But Eric told him directly, he said, I've been flying for 30 years. And let me tell you, there are always going to be times when you feel rushed. That isn't going away. In our industry, you're going to feel rushed from outside pressures, but you control how you deal with it internally. So when you notice things are making you feel rushed, you have to simply breathe and slow down intentionally. He has the ability to think on purpose when those exterior pressures are there, because they're always going to be there at any given point. The same goes for sadness, disappointment, and worry for all of us. These are part of the human experience because we have outside pressures. But how you deal with them is up to you. The key is to manage it, to aim for what you want, to think on purpose. Aiming for something implies that you're doing what it takes to get there. One of my favorite sayings is, aim for the moon. If you miss it, at least you land amongst the stars. When someone aims for an A+, they may end up with an A. That's not so bad. If someone aims to be happy most of the time, their outlook will be much better than someone who just lets life happen. And if someone aims to succeed, they're still going to have things go wrong, but they keep moving forward towards that success because that's what they're aiming for. So no one is always happy, regardless of what you see on Instagram. And no one is successful at everything without failing from time to time, regardless of what you see on Instagram. It's okay to have the range of human emotions. There's nothing wrong with feeling sad or disappointed or anxious. Just don't live there. And remember, there's nothing that's gone wrong because you feel them. It's what you do when you have them that matters. And that's where thinking on purpose comes in really handy. My challenge to you today is to simply have the goal to think on purpose, just for one day. Notice when you have a negative thought and ask yourself, how can I turn this around? Notice if you have a disappointment, how you handle that disappointment. Do you make it worse by beating yourself up? Or do you give yourself a pep talk? A range of human emotions is perfectly normal. What you do with them is all up to you. Now go out there and think on purpose. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.